Okay, so get this. We're diving into this YouTube video about learning English faster. And some of these tips are pretty wild.
Yeah, they had some interesting stuff in there.
Like talking to yourself.
Oh, yeah, that was a good one.
You know, I never thought about it that way, but
it makes sense though, right?
It totally does.
Yeah.
Like you're getting the practice without the pressure of like a real conversation.
Exactly. And you can practice anywhere, anytime.
So what else really stood out to you from this video?
Well, they really emphasized speaking as the key to fluency. I thought that was interesting.
Right. Like it's not just about grammar drills and vocab lists.
It's about actually using the language, connecting with people.
They had this great analogy about English being a bridge between people from all over the world.
Yeah, that was a good one. It really captures how powerful fluency can be.
Totally. And they also talk about how mistakes are actually good.
Oh, yeah, that's so important.
Yes.
So many learners get stuck on being perfect.
And it ends up holding them back.
Exactly. This video encourages us to embrace those mistakes.
See them as learning opportunities.
Right, because that's how we grow.
It's all about getting out there and practicing. And speaking of practice, they had some really fun ideas for that too.
Like what?
Role playing.
Role playing. That's interesting.
I know, right? But it actually makes sense.
Well, how does that work?
Like you can pretend to order food at a restaurant or ask for directions.
Yeah.
Even if you're playing both parts yourself.
So you're basically creating these real life scenarios.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And getting comfortable with using the language in different contexts.
I like that. It's way more engaging than just reading from a textbook.
They even gave an example of a waiter and customer interaction.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Oh, I got to check that out.
Yeah.
So what other creative practice tips did they have?
Oh, this one was interesting. Reading out loud.
Reading out loud.
I know. At first I was like, really? But then they explained how it can help with pronunciation fluency, even getting used to the rhythm of the language.
It's like vocal practice for English.
Exactly. And speaking of mimicking, they also talked about shadowing, you know, where you try to copy the pronunciation and intonation of native speakers.
That can be really helpful for improving your accent.
They even threw in some tongue twisters for good measure.
Did you try any?
Oh, I attempted "She sells seashells by the seashore." Let me tell you, it's harder than it looks.
Tongue twisters are definitely a challenge.
But they do make you pay attention to those tricky sounds.
So it's not just about the words themselves. This video really emphasized the importance of body language and confidence too.
Oh yeah, they even had a little relaxation exercise to calm those pre-speaking jitters.
Oh, that's a good idea. You know, I get nervous sometimes before I have to speak English in front of people.
Me too. It's totally normal.
But learning to relax and project confidence can make a big difference.
It's like they said in the video, it's not just about memorizing grammar rules. It's about embodying the language.
Using your voice, your body, your whole self.
I love that. And they had this really cool tip about trying to think in English instead of translating in your head. Oh yeah, that can be a game changer.
Because it helps you to start thinking in the language more naturally.
And the more you immerse yourself in English, the easier that becomes.
They had some good suggestions for immersion too, like listening to music, watching movies, even switching your phone settings to English.
It's like creating your own little English-speaking world.
And they also recommended keeping a language learning journal.
Oh yeah, that's a great way to track your progress and stay motivated. And I think that's a good place to pause for now. We've covered a lot of ground already, from talking to yourself to thinking in English.
Yeah, this video was packed with useful tips.
So we'll pick up the conversation next time and dive into some of the challenges that many English learners face.
Sounds good. I'm looking forward to it.
Me too.
Yep.
Until then, keep practicing, and remember, mistakes are your friends.
See you next time.
Bye for now.
You know, it's funny, they actually talked about how learning a new language can have all these cognitive benefits.
Oh yeah, like what?
Well, there's research that shows it can improve your memory problem-solving skills, even help delay age-related cognitive decline.
Wow. So it's not just about being able to order a coffee in another language.
It's like a workout for your brain.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I never thought about it that way. And you know what else I liked about this video?
What's that?
They really emphasized that everyone learns at their own pace.
Oh yeah, that's so true. It's easy to get caught up in comparing yourself to others.
And feeling like you're not good enough or not progressing fast enough.
Exactly. But the truth is, there's no right or wrong way to learn a language.
It's about finding what works best for you and being patient with yourself.
They also talked about the importance of having a positive mindset.
Oh yeah, that's huge. Because learning any language can be tough.
There are definitely moments of frustration, self-doubt, you know.
Totally. And that's why it's so important to celebrate those small victories.
And to find a supportive community where you can connect with other learners.
Because let's be real, we all need a little encouragement sometimes, especially when we're tackling something as challenging as learning a new language.
Absolutely. Having a support system can make all the difference.
So speaking of challenges, let's talk about some of the specific ones that many English learners face.
Like pronunciation, grammar anxieties, understanding different accents.
Yeah, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And this video actually offered some really practical advice for dealing with those issues.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
Well, for grammar, they suggested breaking it down into smaller, more manageable chunks.
That's a good idea. It can feel so overwhelming when you're trying to learn everything at once.
Right. And they also recommended using apps for targeted practice.
There are so many great apps out there these days.
Seriously, it's amazing. But honestly, my favorite tip was the one about immersing yourself in English as much as possible.
Oh, yeah. They called it creating an English bubble.
It's all about surrounding yourself with the language in a way that feels natural and enjoyable.
Like listening to podcasts during your commute, watching movies in English, even switching your phone settings.
The more you can incorporate the language into your daily life, the faster you'll progress.
And they also had some really helpful tips for actually using English in different situations.
Like, what if you're traveling and need to ask for directions? Or you have to give a presentation at work in English?
Those can be pretty nerve-wracking situations.
For sure.
Yeah.
But the video provided specific phrases and vocabulary for those kinds of scenarios.
So it's like having a little toolkit to help you navigate different situations with confidence.
And I think that's a great takeaway. Be prepared, practice those key phrases, and most importantly, don't be afraid to make mistakes.
Because mistakes are how we learn.
They're proof that we're pushing ourselves outside of our comfort zones.
And that's where the real growth happens.
So what was your biggest takeaway from all of this?
I think for me, it was that reminder that learning a new language isn't just about the destination, it's about the journey.
I like that. It's about embracing the challenges, celebrating the wins, and enjoying the process of becoming more fluent.
Exactly. And realizing that it's an ongoing journey. There's always more to learn and discover.
It's like they said in the video, keep smiling, keep practicing, and you will see progress.
I love that. It's such a positive and encouraging message.
And it's so true.
Yeah.
The more you put yourself out there, the more you'll grow.
So to everyone listening, keep up the great work.
Yeah, you got this. And don't forget to have fun along the way.
Because learning a new language should be an adventure.
Okay, so this whole conversation has really got me thinking about something.
What's that?
They talked about how learning a new language can change the way you think and perceive the world.
Oh, yeah, that was fascinating.
But what if we could all become fluent in multiple languages? Like, would we have a more nuanced understanding of the world? Would we be able to see things from different perspectives more easily?
That's a really interesting question.
Yeah.
It makes you wonder if multilingualism could lead to greater empathy and understanding between cultures.
Right? Like, if we could all communicate more effectively, maybe we could bridge some of those divides that exist in the world.
It's definitely something to think about.
And it speaks to the power of language, its ability to connect us, challenge us, and ultimately transform the way we see ourselves and the world around us.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like we're not just adding a skill.
More like expanding our whole worldview.
And English being so widespread, it's like unlocking a whole new level of connection.
Exactly. This whole deep dive has really driven home how valuable learning a new language can be for anyone.
So for anyone listening, what's the biggest thing you're taking away from this? I think for me, it's that reminder to just jump in and start speaking.
Yeah, don't be afraid of those little stumbles. Celebrate all those little wins. You know, it's the whole journey that matters.
And if you ever start feeling discouraged, just remember what they said in the video. Keep smiling, keep practicing, and you'll get there.
Such great advice. And it really is true. The more you put yourself out there, the more you'll grow.
Well, I think that just about wraps up our deep dive into learning English faster. We covered a lot of ground today. Everything from those unusual tips to some pretty deep insights.
It's been a fascinating conversation.
I hope you enjoyed it as much as we have. Keep those language fires burning, everyone, and we'll see you next time.
Bye for now.